Hello, I'm Gary C. Johnson. I developed a method of representing my clients called judo law. Using judo law, our team set the record for the largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. No other law firm has even come close. We've had several multi-million-dollar verdicts since then, and guess what? Now, most of our cases settle.
GaryCJohnson.com, 800-337-4002.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson tries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law of Life provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law of Life with Gary C. Johnson and Keith Casebolt.
Hello, everyone. Welcome in to Simply the Law of Life. I'm Keith Casebolt. It's always good to see my dear friend Gary C. Johnson.
Wonderful, wonderful, la 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 la. Singing wasn't one of the things that was my intelligence, okay?
I was going to say, you said last week you were going to talk about 8 intelligence or talents. I thought maybe you were trying to give us a preview of one of yours.
Oh, yes, yes. Oh, I couldn't carry a tune in a wash tub, as they always said. Love to, always wanted to. I got to tell that story about growing up. I always wanted to play the banjo, couldn't. I don't care how much I practiced, I couldn't play the banjo. I wanted to sing, and I wanted to be able to draw, okay? And I was so resentful. Why is it that I can't do these things? Any of you ever felt that way?
Yeah.
You're so mad because you can't sing or you can't play music and all of those things that other people don't have a bit of trouble doing? Makes you mad, huh? I was resentful until after I got out of law school, I got a little money ahead, very little, and I decided to go to New Orleans. And I went to New Orleans.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful place at that point in time. That's many years ago. And I go out on this place called the Jackson Square, or whatever it is. And there's these artists there that could draw your picture just looking at you. There was these musicians playing these instruments, and you could almost, they were so good at it, you could almost hear the words. And guess what? They had cups in front of them for money. I looked up like this, straight in the sky, and I said, "Thank you, Lord, that I did not have any of these talents."
So here you were trying to look for a talent that wasn't given to you, and only to end up embracing the talent that was given to you.
Right, because I'd have been right down there with them, with a cup in front of me, starving to death. But the good Lord cared enough about me to not give me those talents. But He didn't expect me to resent not having them when I was younger, but I learned. So if there's anything that you have never been able to do, that you wanted to do, look up and say, "Thank you, Lord," because it would have turned out bad for me if I'd have been able to do that.
It may not have been your talent or your calling.
That's right. It was definitely not, and the good Lord knew better than to let you have it. He knew you'd mess it up.
Gary, isn't it amazing about talent? You and I have talked about this many times on the radio program, that people are able to do things and they just take it for granted like it's no big deal. I had a guy one time that said, "Oh, I can teach you guitar. All you got to do is this." And he started playing, and I was like, "Yeah, if I could do that." It's not that easy, and people don't realize how gifted they are.
That's right. So let's go to the computer. I want to talk to you about what Harvard has concluded is the 8 intelligences that we have, the different types. There's our number in case you need to reach us. By the way, somebody asked me the other day, "Gary, I've been watching your program, but I can't figure out what you do for a living." I practice law. I have a large personal injury law firm, and we take mostly catastrophic cases. So I just let you folks know that we are available if you need us to represent you, but I don't like the advertising part of it, so I'd rather do this. talk about life and living and how wonderful my friends are. How's that? That's what I'd rather do. So let's go on. There's our Lexington office. If any of you have heard in Lexington or know someone that's heard in Lexington, we have an office here. And GaryCJohnson.com. Here's the article. I hold it up so you can look at it, okay? That's from Harvard, from a fellow by the name of Kumarmehta. I can't pronounce it, but I want to give him credit for the article. It's the 8 types of intelligence. And so let's go back to computer and we'll talk about them. The first one says humans have 8 types of intelligence. Which one do you score the highest in? Understanding that many of you may have a lot of these.
Well, that's a good point. So you could possibly have a little bit of intelligence in 4 or 5 of them and more in 2 or 3, right?
Right.
Okay.
You'll have one that you'll have more than anything.
Okay.
The first one he puts down is spatial intelligence. Now, what is that? That's the ability to think abstractly and in multiple dimensions. Scoring a 5 means you have a large capacity for spatial reasoning and conceptualization, something required for fields such as architecture, graphic designs, photography, interior design, and aviation. Now, but you've always been fascinated, my friends, with how someone can walk into a vacant room and write some notes, and then when you come back and look at it a month later, it's filled with the most beautiful furniture and things on the wall you could ever imagine.
Hey, listen, one of my favorite things to do is to watch Flip This House, or, where they go in and they buy an old house and the lady walks in and she looks and goes, oh, we'll put the kitchen over here and we'll knock out this wall and I'm going to bring this window in here. I didn't see anything but an empty room.
That's right. Amen. So that was not the intelligence that Keith and I have, okay? The next one, let's go back to computer. The next one is body kinesthetic intelligence. That's your athletes. The ability to use your body in a way that demonstrates physical and athletic prowess. If you have this skill, you could be an athlete effortlessly running down a field and passing a ball, or a dancer flawlessly performing a complicated routine. That's what you could do if you have that intelligence. Guess what? I didn't get that intelligence. Nope, not me.
Well, I lacked a little bit of the talent that went along with it, but I loved playing sports. I loved playing baseball, football, basketball, golf, all of it. I'm like anybody. I'd like to be better at it, but from a physical standpoint, I always enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. But I did see people that could do it, Gary, and they amazed me. That it was just like a God-given talent to them. They could pick up a basketball and the ball just fit their hands perfect. Or somebody could throw a baseball and they could hit it or anything. I mean, their talent level was so much higher. So I just had a little bit.
And you notice, my friends, we've been with two, and there's been no mention of IQ.
Yeah, because when we think about intelligence, I guarantee you our friends, I did, the first thing I thought you were going to say is what's your IQ, what did you score on the test, where did you go through to college or something like that. So you're talking about something completely different.
When I read this article, I decided to do this program because how many times have I told you that you're unique, my friends? Just about every program, right? This proves it. 8 different ways that you can be unique compared to other people.
Gary, so you're saying when you go through these 8, that we're going to have one person that says, I'll bet you none of them apply to me, but yet they're going to see one and go, oh, well, yeah, that's easy. I do that real easy, but they never thought of it as intelligence?
If you watch this program and you see all 8 of these talked about and you say none of them apply to you, to start talking to that voice inside your head is lying to you. Because at least one or more of these will apply to you. every single time. I saw someone the other day look at him and say, well, I don't have any of those. And I looked at him and I said, that voice inside your head is lying to you, which it loves to do. It'll lie to you all the time, right? Okay.
Oh, it loves to put you down, doesn't
Put
it?
you down and lie to you.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to computer. The next one is musical intelligence. We all know what that is, right? That's sensitivity to rhythm, pitch, meter, tone, melody, and timbre. This may entail the ability to sing and or play musical instruments. Famous people with musical intelligence include Beethoven, Jimi Hendrix, Aretha Franklin, and many, many others.
You know, a guy that helped us with our studio here, Jeff Branham, who owns Branham Productions. Jeff is a great musician, great keyboardist.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually at a shoot where he was with a band. Gary, he was playing the keyboard with one hand, and he was calling out to other people in the band, you're a little behind on the drum. You need to pick this up. He could actually hear every instrument and know what they were doing while he was taking one hand and playing the keyboard. And I was sitting here going, good heavens.
He would be considered in that intelligent level probably a genius. But again, no mention of IQ, right?
Yeah.
That's 3 now, right? We've been through. Hopefully one of them by now would have applied to one of you folks. So you'll know that you have a special talent. Let's go back to the computer. What's our next one? Linguistic intelligence. That's language, sometimes called language intelligence. This involves sensitivity to the meaning of words, the order among words, and the sound, rhythms, inflections, and meter of words. Those who score high in this category are typically good at writing stories, memorizing information, and reading. That's probably your lawyers
Yes.
and people like that.
People that can translate a story, preachers, people that are articulate in telling things. What was the old joke, Gary, they used to tell about in the jail that night a guy yelled out 57 and everybody laughed, and then they heard somebody yell out 83 and everybody laughed, and the guy said, what are you doing? And he said, well, we've been in here so long, we know the same jokes, we just numbered them. And he said, oh, well, let me try it. And he yelled out 94, and nobody laughed. And he said, what's the problem? And he said, I guess some people can tell a joke and some people can't. So that was the point. The joke can be funny, but some people can tell it and really make you laugh, or some people can tell a story and get it across to you, and other people can't. Very important intelligence.
I think if in the end, that's probably the intelligence I got. I sure didn't have the athletics or any musical or any spatial or any of those others. So I'm going to latch on to that one and say it's mine.
I would definitely agree, because in a lot of the ways that you teach, whenever I ask you questions, you'll do it in the form of telling a story or telling a situation that happened, and that is more memorable than any other way to teach.
Speaking of telling a story, you were talking about jokes. I was watching this comedian, and he was doing his comedian act, and one of the things he said was, he said, you know, next door is this little old lady that lives next door to me. And she, every morning, comes over and knocks on my door. She obviously has Alzheimer's. And asks me, have you seen my husband? And I have to explain to her. I say, no, he's been dead for 5 years. Next day, she comes back again. Have you seen my husband? Knocks on the door. No, he's been dead for 5 years. He said, I thought about trying to do something about it. But he said, actually, the smile on her face brightened my day so much that I didn't want to change anything.
Why disappoint her? She was happy over the news.
Oh, yes, she loved that news. I just thought I'd share that with you. A little humor.
That is good.
Let's go back to computer and talk about intelligence a little bit. Logical mathematical intelligence. The ability to analyze problems logically, carry out mathematical operations, and investigate issues scientifically. People with this intelligence, such as Albert Einstein and Bill Gates, are skilled at developing equations and proofs and solving abstract problems.
You know, this is an amazing talent. I was going through the channels one night and I stopped on a program on how the universe works. Gary, about 4 minutes in, when I was listening to the professor talk, I thought I stopped on the wrong channel. I mean, these people are so intelligent when it comes to this type of intelligence. It truly is amazing.
Now, I always like math, but the reason I like math is it's the one thing that there's always an answer. Always. And that's why I never did get along with social studies. There was never an answer.
Yeah, well, I like math too, as long as it's small numbers. But when you start getting into geometry and all of the other things, that's pretty tough.
How you guys and gals doing? Are we boring you to death? Huh?
Well, you're through what, 5 of the intelligence? So right now, I would imagine 95% of the people watching have had a talent in 1 or an intelligence in 2 or 3.
You can have more than one, but there'll be one that will be from it. In other words, when you figure out which one's yours, that's how you need to try to figure out how to make your living, huh?
Good point.
Because that's what you'll be good at. And remember, every one of you has one of these intelligence or more. Because the good Lord didn't put you on this earth without the ability to contribute. Go back to the computer. Interpersonal intelligence is the next one. What is it? The ability to interact effectively with others, sensitivity to others' modes, feelings, and temperaments, and motivation. Essentially, it's being able to understand and relate to those around you. Now, that is an extremely important intelligence.
Gary, could it potentially be the most important intelligence for happiness, for friendship, for a true meaning in life? Because this one really shocks me.
If you don't have it, I'll bet you money you know somebody that does. Guarantee you do. Because they're special people.
Well, I was going to say, the people that have this intelligence, it's almost like having a magnet around you. People are drawn to you.
That's
They
right.
want to be near you. They want to see you. They want to talk to you. They want to be in your company.
So if you have that intelligence, use it. The world needs it. Okay?
And I'll bet you a lot of our friends are saying, well, I just thought I was a likable person, not realizing that that's a
their
form of
gift
intelligence.
from the good Lord when they were born.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the next one? Believe it or not, it's outside of you, personal intelligence. What is that? It's sensitivity to one's own feelings, goals, and anxieties, and the capacity to plan and act in light of one's own traits. Intrapersonal intelligence is not particular to specific careers. Rather, it is a goal for every individual in complex modern society where one has to make consequential decisions for oneself. Intra. Now, what's the last one? Naturalistic. That's the ability to understand the nuances in nature, including the distinction between plants, animals, and other elements of nature and life. Notable individuals with naturalistic intelligence include Charles Darwin and James Goodall. That is your 8 intelligence.
You know, I got to be honest with you. Number 7 kind of just swept by me. We may go back to it and discuss it in just a moment, but let's stay on number 8. Have you seen the shows where I guess it's Bear Grylls and then the Naked and Afraid, and the people are put out in the wilderness to survive, and the next thing you know, they have an encampment, they have food, they have a fire. They have all these things. They've fixed a compass. They know which way north or south is, where they need to travel, and they find their way out of the wilderness. And I am sitting here going, good heavens, that is amazing.
No, that's survival. And it's amazing what people will rise to and the level they'll rise to, that each of you will rise to if you're put in a situation.
Yeah, but you got to have some of that talent, though, don't you? I mean, because if you drop me off in the wilderness, I mean, the first thing I'm going to do is try to look around and see if there's a bear. Other than that, I mean,
Bear gets after you, you'll get some talent. You'll learn how to run.
Big bear chase me.
Right?
Yeah, yes.
The thing is, my friends, I don't know over the years that I've run into some people, and in my foolish way, which, by the way, I've made many mistakes, just so you'll know, I have not seen in them anything special. Okay? I just didn't. Now, this was years ago before I started really looking, okay? And then they would go on and do extraordinary things. And I would always say to myself, how did I miss that? Well, I guess it was because I wasn't looking.
So, Gary, are you saying that the biggest mistake we make is we have one of these intelligence, or maybe two, and then we turn around and judge everybody around us based upon the one intelligence that we have, and we're like, oh, well, they don't have much going for them because they don't know geometry. But yet they're able to survive, they can play music, they're athletic, they have all the other, they could have more intelligence put together than this individual who's a master of geometry.
Thank you for pointing that out, because that is exactly right. We tend to judge, and each, my friends, you're guilty of it just like I am, based upon our own abilities and our own whatever intelligence we have. We tend to judge others, our children, whatever, without ever really taking the time to say, they're not me. They have other talents or other things in life. They have other interests in life. They don't want to be in a strain every day of their life. They want to live life. But yet we judge them based upon our own abilities. I had a friend, a real dear friend one time, that was a good athlete in high school. And he judged every kid that he ever ran into based on whether or not they were a good athlete. And he was wrong, because everybody has different types of intelligence.
So during that time period in high school, the only thing that mattered was being the athlete. And the only intelligence he could see was either you're an athlete or you're not realizing that other individuals had these other intelligence.
No, he couldn't see, or didn't take the time to see, that people had different gifts than he did. That they're as important and as good as he was, but in different ways. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, because you're saying at the time he thought that was the only gift that mattered, not realizing that the gifts others had around them would be using them for a lifetime. I'm sure his athletic days were over pretty quickly.
Oh, yeah. And we tend to do that, folks. You are doing it, right? You're judging other people based upon your abilities.
Gary, I had to have some work done, electrical work, and a young man came up, really nice fellow, to do the work. And he looked at me after he looked at the electrical problem, and he said, "You do know this is a simple thing. I can't believe you called me." I said, "Brother, everything is simple if you know how to do it." So it was simple to him, but it wasn't simple to me. It was a major problem to me.
Well, folks, I guess the purpose of this program overall is to go back to one of our common themes that we have, is that we're different. And that in ways, many ways, we are unique only to ourselves. Some folks may have 3 or 4 of these gifts that they have, the different types of intelligence. Some may only have 1. And some, I'm not going to say it, can never have none because you have at least 1 of these.
So Gary, after watching this program, I'll bet you that some of our friends are going to pick up the phone and call one of their friends or relatives and say, you know what? I had no idea the talent you had was a form of intelligence. Mm-hmm. I had no idea how intelligent you were in this certain area of life, and I've never respected it, and I should have.
That's my point. That's exactly the point I'm trying to make. You have to respect the people around you for the intelligence that they have, not your intelligence, because it's different. Making sense, folks?
Oh, you came out with a revelation that I still marvel at. You said, Keith, we can look at each other physically and we can see the physical difference. We never look inwardly and see the inward difference.
Well, I guess the point I was making when I said that, Keith, was when you look at anyone and see all the different characteristics that they have that are different than you, why would you ever fantasize that what's inside of them wouldn't be just as different from you? Think about it. We see the differences, but what's inside of a person, we never think about it. The differences that they would have to us. And so we take our way it is and we judge them based on what they're doing. Big mistake. Big mistake.
I also like what you said in this program, that if you're watching this and you say, oh yeah, that comes easy to me, and you have the intelligence in that area, then that's your gift, that's your calling, that's what you should be doing.
That's your dream. That's the thing you should go after. Go after it. Because you only have a very small dash. Live it to the fullest and realize, and I'll say it in every program, I'm saying it this one, you are unique and you are extremely important. And we need you, all of us, need you to use your gift, the thing that you're better at than other people, for the benefit of all of us. We need each other. We can't survive without each other, period.
Yeah. Wonderful program, and I hope you had all of the 8 forms of intelligence. If you'd like to get in touch with Gary, you can do that at gary@garycjohnson.com. We've had a lot of comments lately, and we appreciate all of them. We really do. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for tuning in to Simply the Law of Life.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law of Life, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. You've seen these billboards and ads that say size matters. I agree. The size that matters is the size of the results the law firm gets for their clients. We have several multi-million-dollar verdicts here in Kentucky. In fact, our firm owns the record for the single largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. That's the size that matters to you. In Kentucky, give our firm the call.